by staying in this meeting, consent to be live streamed. Anyone got it? To say got it.
Başladık abi yayındayız.
Okay.
Okay.
So, dear participants, welcome to the second of our Common Vote of People webinar series that are organized by the partnership of the Turkish Participation Banking Association of Turkey and the Wadi Research and Application Center. Today, we have a very valuable guest again. I would like to say welcome, Mrs. Emina SISIC. Thank you very much for joining us today and taking the time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks.
Here.
So, Mrs. Emina, if you don't mind, I would like to introduce you to our participants very shortly and briefly. Mrs. Emina SISIC has a bachelor's degree of economics from the Sarajevo University and has the master's degree from Griffith College, Dublin. Mrs. Emina has started her professional career in BH Bank Sarajevo and held the following positions: finance manager, head of documentary business department, and director of the operations, director of the bank, and chief executive officer of the bank, and a member of the bank in the different financial institutions. So, like as the Bosnia Bank International, Raiffeisen Bank, and the United Bank of Albania, and still she is the chief executive officer of the Bosnia Bank International. And Mrs. Emina, I think I didn't, let's say, missed any of the position in your career. And if you don't mind, I would like to also give you some brief information, what is including this webinar series and what is it's regarding with. In this webinar series, we are, as the Participation Banking Association and the Wadi Research and Application Center, we especially focusing on the sustainability, responsible finance, and its examples and academic studies in Islamic finance. So we can say that the Islamic banking and the Islamic finance is a system that includes the concept of the sustainability by its nature, and they produce the outputs in this field long before these development goals of the that have emerged in recent years. So one of the sustainable development goals of the United Nations is the decent work, and I mean the proper work for the humans, and the economic development. And again, one of the subcategories of this sustainable development goal is to strengthen the capacity of the local financial institutions and to promote and expand the access to the banking, insurance, and the financial services for all. I mean for all. At the beginning of the 2000s, we know that it's not possible for the Muslim community in Bosnia to access the financial services in accordance with their beliefs. I mean the Sharia-compliant financial services. And what services did you, as the Bosnia Bank International, provide to the people in this field, and how did you contribute? Can you tell us a little bit about a brief history of the Bosnia Bank International and its services for the Muslim community?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Guy, and thank you for having me today. I'm really honored to be the key speaker to participate in the webinar, this today webinar. So maybe just to have an idea of those who are participating this webinar today, of Bosnia and Herzegovina as a country, and the recent history of this country, and maybe some organizational political structure, just to give an idea of the market where we are doing our business. So Bosnia and Herzegovina as a country, as it now is for the centuries that exists, but it changed the political and organizational structure over the years. So like 30 years ago, we were part of the former Yugoslavia as the last communist country in this part of the world, in the Eastern Europe. Then in 1991, there was the Bosnia and Herzegovina declared sovereignty. It was on the referendum of the people who voted for the independence at that time. And actually, on the 3rd of year 1992, after referendum, the war in the former Yugoslavia broke up. Actually, the Bosnia and Herzegovina is republic at that time. We were a Socialist Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina, then Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina as declared in 1992 as an independent country. So we were attacked by the Serbians at that time and the former Yugoslav army, and all the history of that war is probably very well known to everyone. In 1995, the war ended by signing the Dayton Peace Agreement in the USA, in Dayton, and that the era of new, let's say, organizational and structure of our country started. So at that time, the Bosnia and Herzegovina was composed or agreed to be composed in our constitution as of two entities, Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, where the majority of Croats and Muslims, Bosniaks are, and another entity of Republika Srpska, where the majority are the Serbs. The capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Brčko district, yes, like in an independent zone under the governance of the central government. So then we have the central government, the state central government, and we have two entities and one district. So the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina is Sarajevo, and the population of Bosnia and Herzegovina is 3.2 million people, compared to the pre-war time. In 1991, there were 4.4 million people living in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the religion is 51% is Islam. Serbian Orthodox is 31% and Catholic 15%. So we are called like a transitional country and developing country. That is what our economic, position is. And during the last war, so that it has left a lot of scars, let's say, in our country, on the people, on the economy, and everything. So GDP during the war and after the war, which was in 1996 actually. So we registered 60% fall of our pre-war GDP. So the destruction of physical infrastructure and devastated economy. And more than 100,000 people were killed, while 2 million people were internally displaced persons. So that was actually the reality that we had immediately after the war. So the ethnical organizational structure was completely different before the war, and the majority of the Bosniaks and Muslims were expelled or had to leave their pre-war place of living during the war, and they were internally or externally displaced. And at that time, we had only the state-owned banks immediately after the war, and one or two small private banks, because in the communist system, so we didn't have private banks. Actually, the law that regulates the banking system is the conventional banking law. And as a bank, as BBI Bank, the only Islamic bank in the country and in the region as well, we are doing the business and we are doing banking within the commercial and conventional banking law. In 2000, so our main, now I will tell more about BBI. It was established in 2000. by three shareholders, which are Islamic Development Bank from Saudi Arabia, and the two, let's say, Islamic commercial banks, which is development bank by its nature, and two commercial Islamic banks from United Arab Emirates, very well recognized and known institutions there, which is Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank and Dubai Islamic Bank. So just to tell you something about about our shareholders. So IDB, or Islamic Development Bank, is AAA rated banking institution. Dubai Islamic Bank is A rated institution, and Abu Dhabi is A+ rated institution. This is the latest Fitch rating of these three shareholders. Capital of the bank is 150 million. We have 36 branches throughout the country in Federation, both in Federation and the Republic of Srpska. We have around 100,000 clients. That is the situation as is today. And we have almost 450 employees. So BBI Bank was established by its shareholders with the primary purpose to support the development of this of the Bosnian economy. It was in 2000. You know, it was only 4 or 5 years after the war. So you can imagine at that time the situation in our economy that was completely destroyed. And really the main goal was to support the economy and also to give an alternative to people who like doing banking according to Islamic banking principles. Yeah, we can say that it is the mostly Muslims or Bosniaks as a majority of the clients, but in practice, really, so we have the clients of all the ethnicities, all the nations. So the bank is open for everyone. So what is important to say that we transparently explain or try to explain to people what the principles and the basis of our banking is, no matter how it is called, but the principles are important. This is what we always point out when we try to present Islamic banking or our bank. So we can say that the situation is that we are now, let's say, the leading banks in Bosnia and Herzegovina are foreign-owned banks, and the majority of the market are foreign-owned banks. There is only one state-owned bank, and a couple of banks with some state-owned share. But majority of the banks are private-owned, and it's Austrian and Italian banks that are the leading, so the banks from the European Union, and we're all share the same market. The bank has grown its total assets organically 3 times quicker than the market in Bosnia and Herzegovina during the period of 2010 to 2020. And we rose our market share for 1.5% to 3.8% or 3.9% almost in total area of Bosnia and Herzegovina, while we are more than 5% in Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, where a majority of our branches and outlets are actually. So having in mind that we are, let's say, we differentiate from other banks based on our banking principle, so we can say that we have, let's say, a big portion, or a rather big portion of the banking market. Having in mind that we needed years really to explain people actually but so you know, people everywhere in the world, and especially maybe in this part of the world where we live. In the Balkans, we are full of some prejudice. So this is, we have a prejudice, and people everywhere have prejudice about other people that they have never seen or they have never met, or the cultures they don't know really much about. So these are the prejudices that we wanted to explain, that the principles that we are working on are based on the ethical and the standards that are good for our society. So based, of course, on the conventional banking, based within conventional banking law that we are obliged to do our business. Regarding the assets, so we had 3 times quicker growth than the market, as I said. But what's important to say is that we have kept our quality of our portfolio very good. So our NPL ratio now is less than 4% compared to the market, which is around 6 to 7%, which means that we are our main goal is not just to increase the portfolio, but also to keep the quality of this portfolio. Because as any bank in the world, our being Islamic or non-Islamic bank is to protect the deposits of our clients, our depositors. Financing growth in this 10-year period, over this 10-year period, was 16.6% versus market growth of, let's say, 3.7%. So it gives you an idea how, let's say, aggressive in the growth we were. And the deposits also grew significantly. I remember in 2010, so our deposit portfolio was 220 million, which is around, let's say, 100 and something million euros. So you divide by 2 almost, and you get the figures in euros. While now we are at 1.2 billion km of the deposits, and these are all the local deposits, both individual and private and company deposits. Also, our net profit grew 20% over these 10 years. The last year, of course, due to the pandemic, so we had some decrease of our net profit, but because we were cautious and we have prepared, we have reserved for the portfolio that was under the special measures during the pandemic. And what is important to say, like any other bank, so we are offering a wide range of product for our clients, but these products are complied with the Sharia principles. So we have the Sharia board, which approves all our products here, and we have the prominent scholars on the board. So the financing contracts that we have with our clients are based on the partnership between us and our clients. Yeah. And what is important to say that we have, so it took years really for us to make the contracts and all the documentation that also complies with the banking regulation and the local regulations and those of the Islamic banking principles.
So, Emina Hanım, as you know that in Turkey we are calling the Islamic finance institutions as the participation bank, because by its nature, because our customers is also participating the profit and loss. And as far as I know, also you have a presence in Sarajevo, and you are really participating the daily life in Sarajevo. Also, you are participating the business as well, because I think you are organizing the Sarajevo Business Forum. Can you also a little bit give us information regarding your presence in Sarajevo? I mean, your headquarters, because you are also having some business at that presence, your headquarter. And before that, also I would like to say that your video is not, I think so, working now. Can you just open and close again your video?
Yes.
Emina? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a second. So seems that we.
No worries. Okay, we are seeing you
Okay.
again.
Yes, I see. So there is something. So this is also what differentiates us from other banks, let's say. So these corporate social responsibilities, which are really eminent to these institutions, and we are known all around the country and in the region for these projects that we are taking, which we can say are really beyond banking, beyond the ordinary banking. So yes, you said that we are the organizers of the Sarajevo Business Forum. Sarajevo Business Forum is a business event that was held for 10 years, starting in 2009. And it was not held last year due to the pandemic, and this year as well. But inshallah, we are planning and to start it again, restart it next year in May 2022, yes. So this is the event. So we have within our structure, we have organized a separate department, which is called VIP Club. So this is the club for our clients, entrepreneurs, mostly the corporate companies, SME and large corporate, who are the members of this club, and we are organizing the networking between them and with them with another clients in the country and also from investors from the world. And that was the idea when we started, that since our shareholders are from Saudi Arabia, from Arab countries, to try to get the investors and tourists and investors from these countries to meet our clients here. And that was the platform and the idea when we started in 2010. And really now for 10 years, we can say that many projects have been realized due to this event that was organized by BBI. That is one of the, let's say, the biggest brands that we have here within our bank. Then we have Sarajevo Halal Fair that we started in 2019, but for 1 year only. But unfortunately, also due to pandemic, so we had to stop it last year and this year. But we will see next year, inshallah, that we restart also these activities. Here we bring together the producers, those who offer their products, but also so Sharia compliant services as well from all the industries. Apart from this, so we can say that we have a BBI Academy that we established here within the bank in 2008, 2009. But also we had a lot of we had a lot of trainings for our employees here within the bank and abroad. And I really use this opportunity to thank the Turkish participation banks that they have offered the education and training, on-job trainings for our employees. Not only on Islamic banking, which is our foundation, but also in other techniques and other areas of banking in general. So this is what really Turkish participating banks really helped us a lot. And we got a lot of experience, which we implemented here in our bank. So we also have funds that are established by some prominent healthy wealthy people like Sheikh Salih Kamil Fund, which was funded for scholarships for our for the students, usually those without the parents or orphans, and also complying with some other criteria for their scholarship. So it's for more than 4.5 million km that was implemented in this project. So we are very proud of this, and which is let's say in dollars, it's like almost $3 million that was implemented or are under implementation now. Together with the University of Sarajevo and University of Bolton in the UK, BABI founded the first Center for Islamic Finance and Banking and the first master's program in Islamic banking in the Balkans. So that is actually what we are also doing and what differentiates us from let's say, ordinary conventional banking.
And also how you are participating the social life and the real economy in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And it was really a pleasure to hear about this impressive brief history of the BBI and the services you provide to the not only Muslim community, to all the community in Bosnia. And also you mentioned that you have the let's say branches in the Republika Srpska, and you are widening the Islamic banking all over the Bosnia. So, you know, another topic that has been talked a lot in recent years, like as the sustainability, is an impact investing. And I mean, the impact investing is investment approach to the prioritize the creating positive social and environmental impacts rather than the making monetary profit when while investing. Also, you have a long-term credit line with really valuable case studies and the outputs that were very impressed ourselves when we heard about it. And also, can you provide information about these credit line also, especially for whom and what was it used for, and what results did you get with this credit line?
Yes. So as you said, so we have had a couple of these credit lines or financing lines provided by different creditors for the special purpose, which is in general, as a foundation, is to help the returnees in their pre-war place of living for the sustainable life there. So to support the agricultural and industrial and other activities of these people. So the first line that we implemented was that in 2007, provided by the IDB or IDB Trust Fund. It was implemented in cooperation with the Organization of Islamic Countries for Returnees in Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Riyaset of Islamic Community in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So the primary goal and purpose was to provide financing for micro and small projects for the sustainable return of refugees in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And contrary to the traditional assistance to refugees at that time by providing them food, medicine, and shelter, so this project provides innovative assistance through micro projects for job creation. And over 3,700 returnee individuals have been supported by the Trust Fund. So the second one was of the, let's say, World Bank. The World Bank also provided a credit line, which we implemented in October 2010, which was divided into two projects. And the primary goal of that was sustainable help in the implementation of business development projects, investment projects, permanent working capital, etc., for a long-term period, 10-year period, which was not actually available for our clients in the local market. And the focus in the implementation of this project was at improving and increasing production capacity of these SME businesses. And this fund has supported over 40 SME projects. And then this is the IFAD and OPEC projects that we implemented in May 2008, and later on 3 projects altogether, and more than 180 beneficiaries, individuals and SMEs have been financed through this project. Al Maktoum Fund, implemented in September 2007, and this fund was established as a donation from the Al Maktoum Foundation. And this fund also supported over 180 beneficiaries and support projects in the field of agriculture, crafts, and similar activities that have a strong social dimension and which resulted with the aim to result in sustainable return of refugees and displaced persons to their homes in eastern Bosnia, Middle Podrinja, we call it, and in the cities and towns like Bratunac, Srebrenica, Vlasenica, and the others. So when I say Srebrenica, you understand actually what the region is. And the Malaysian fund also, which we arranged in 2017, and I would say the biggest. One of the biggest credit lines with the biggest impact really was the Turkish financing line, which was arranged in April 2012. And now it's almost 10 years that we are implementing this line. So that is actually the creditor was the Turkish Ziraat Bankası, Ankara, okay. But it was the support of Republic of Turkey. Actually, the agreement between so the Turkish Ziraat Bank is an agent implementing and the creditor as well contractually between us and themselves. On one side, the credit line is 50 million euros, and on the other side, it was also Ziraat Bank in Bosnia, which signed the same contract with the Ziraat Bankası for an additional 15 million euros for their implementation. For the almost 10 years of implementation, this financial line has successfully achieved a set of goals in support to the sustainable return of refugees and displaced persons. So these vulnerable groups of categories of people are encouraged and supported in starting their own businesses. So because they could not find the employment there when they returned to their pre-war homes, and the only way for them to survive was to start their own businesses, which is mostly in agriculture. So if I tell you that almost 70% of this line was disbursed in agricultural activities, with only 1.5% of MPL for individuals, only 1.5%, in total 3% of MPL for this line, tells you, how successfully it was implemented. Both from the bank, we always say it was not implemented only from the bank side, it was implemented also from the beneficiaries in the right way. So this 50 million euros, it was revolving line, and it was increased by additional 70 million, which resulted actually in the end that we have invested or we have placed more than 127 million euros for this during this 10-year period of implementation. So more than 5,700 individual users have been supported by this line. And they mostly engaged, as I said, in agricultural activities and in developing their small businesses. The beneficiaries of this line have progressed from the small farmers, individual farmers, which did it for their personal needs, to the position of farmers who can sell the products to the market. And financings from Turkish financing line created new permanent employment for 2,830 people, and engagement of 1,500 subcontractors. And so to give you an idea how many people were directly or indirectly benefited from this line, that is the number of 27,700 people, which is, let's say, the population of a small town, or not even small town. For Bosnia, it's a mid-sized town like Konjic or Gorazde. So whoever visited Bosnia knows what the size of these towns are. I mean, just to give you an idea, I mean, of the number of beneficiaries who benefited from this line. 105 municipalities were covered in this line. So what is important to say is here that we, in 2012, we have established a special office unit for implementation of this Turkish credit line or financing line. So these people usually didn't or could not provide the proof or evidence for their creditworthiness, credit capacity. They didn't have the credit capacity to prove in documents, which is absolutely obligatory according to the banking rules. So in order to find the solution for this, to comply both with the local regulations and also to support these people or these individuals or these farmers. So we have created, we were, let's say, innovative in a way. We have created like a agricultural questionnaire where people have declared that they had the land of their own. That because just to clarify, so these farmers or individual farmers, they were not registered. They didn't have the businesses registered at it. So they were just individual persons. And since they didn't have the salaries from their employment, they were not entitled, let's say, for receiving these funds based on our local regulations. But we have created this form of this agriculture questionnaire where people have declared their income that they have unofficially at that time, unofficially from the agriculture activities, the properties like land, house, and everything that they had really, or some machinery as well. So in order to have this form, let's say, agricultural form as acceptable for our regulator, we went to the field in order to verify the facts that were in this form. So you can imagine how many people from the bank were engaged to visit our clients in really very sometimes very remote areas of the countries. On the other side, so people didn't have funds. Actually, they could not afford even to come to our branch because they didn't have money, I mean, for the transport. So this is how we managed to reach the beneficiaries. And at that time, also, especially for the purpose of implementation of this Turkish financing line, we have opened our branch in Bratunac city in Republika Srpska. So this is just to give you an idea how we managed, I mean, to reach the clients. It was at the beginning, it was impossible. The goal was to find the beneficiaries. It was not easy to find the beneficiaries, but because you could not find them in Sarajevo or other cities here, you had to go to these returnees' place of living, and to find them in some villages or in some places very, very, I mean, remote from the capitals or from the big cities. But we were really very focused on this. We have the group of people, a group of employees who were only dedicated to monitor the implementation of these activities. And we have some stories that I can share with you now, that just you can get an idea through the pictures, through the photos of what we have managed. Okay, seems that I cannot, for some reason, share the screen. Maybe it's because it is recorded, but okay, never mind. So not to, because we have some problems to share the photos, but I will tell you some, let's say, stories about some beneficiaries. So the two sisters, they are in Bratunac in Republika Srpska. One sister whose husband was killed, she left with a son, and her sister, they decided immediately after the war to return to their destroyed houses in Bratunac, and they started farming in order to get the funds for their living, let's say, to survive, to be honest and open. The sisters are returnees in Konjević Polje, which is the region of Bratunac. And they are first returnees in the area in Konjević Polje. And for many years, they have been successfully engaged in production of broilers, chicken, by the joint partnership from the Turkish financing line and by help of the competent ministry from Republika Srpska, the sisters have built a farm for broilers with the European standards. And the starting capacity of 5,000 broilers increased to 15,000 broilers in one cycle. So why I point out this example of these two sisters? I also want to hear the stress that many women who were left widows after the war, they were brave enough to start the business in order to get the money for their families. Even in the families where they had where the couples were, I mean, both spouses. So that was the women who actually encouraged or started or brought the application for the financing. So, which is really a good impact for women here of this financing credit line, to encourage women to apply for the funds, because you know, this is not, I mean, donation. This was usually at zero cost for the beneficiaries. Thanks to this, I will try to share now with you.
You can share now.
Yes, please, just a second. What I want to say that that was really the success that we engaged or encouraged the women to participate here, because it is not donation. They knew that once they have to pay it back. But at what we have seen in this Turkish financing line, when at that time they had the opportunity to apply with the microcredits, microfinancing institutions, where the interest rates were like, let's say, 25 to 30%. You can imagine, I mean, how much, let's say, potatoes you have to dig to plant to earn for 30 or 25, 30% for the bank, and the remaining for yourself. It's impossible, I mean, to survive on these high interest rates. So these funds were very cheap, or almost at zero costs for the beneficiaries. So I don't know if you can see the photos. So yeah, this is a successful story of these two sisters, Safeta and Ifeta, in Konjević Polje. Then we have this client, Fadil Varupa, who is a returnee in Vitez. It's in the mid part of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And you see in the photos that he is breeding the deer and sheep as well. And at the moment, there are 45 deer and 100 sheep at Mr. Arpa's farm. That was, and he's doing this business with his wife, only two of them. And it's really very, I mean, rare to see the farmers here in Bosnia to breed deer. So which was very, really interesting and impressive for us. So you have the success story of Mr. Jugum from Tomislavgrad, Livno. He is engaged in dairy cows breeding, and he possesses 35 dairy cows. And the final phase of stable construction was completed. So this is was the photo when the stable was under construction. Now it is completed according also to European standards, thanks to this Turkish credit line funds. And his entire 9-member family is employed in the farm. So they're really self-sustainable, let's say. And Miss Halida Sanjic, she also is a returnee. You can see her in the photo, a very hardworking and brave woman who returned to Pale, which is near Sarajevo in the Republika Srpska entity. And she applied for financing for to provide healthy food for her family and make her agricultural production more efficient. And what she told us that her dreams came true through this funds from the Turkish line. And by buying this agriculture equipment and cattle feeding, it is now much easier for Ms. Halida to support her family. So we don't have time. I mean, there are hundreds of these success stories of both SME companies as well. But I purposely wanted to show you the success stories of the individual, of individuals, of people who, especially women, who were brave enough to start the businesses on their own.
So thank you very much, because these credit lines success stories and the outputs is really including many of the sustainable development goals, like as the, because you are making possible it to non-banking persons to access to financial services and agricultural developments, SME financing. Also, you are making some employee generations and very huge range of the employee generation. Did you get the output as of the output of this credit line, and the support to the women force in the business, as we seen from your success stories. So I would like to jump into another phase, because one of the taking this opportunity, the women force in business, one of the subcategories of the sustainable development goals is to ensure the women's full and effective participation in decision-making processes at all levels in political, financial, and economic and the public life, and the equal opportunities for the leadership. And now you are currently in a highest executive position of a financial institution. You are the CEO. And what can you tell about your own career story in this regard? And what difficulties did you encounter? Or did you encounter any difficulties? What do you think drove you to success on this journey?
Yeah, I really didn't think about this until recently. I really didn't think about this because I didn't have time to think about this. Now, you know that recently in July, actually, this year, I started this position as the CEO of Bosna Bank International. So I really never had the ambition to be, I mean, the CEO. Like when I was 20 or 30 years old, to say, okay, when I'm 40, I want to be the CEO. I really didn't have this ambition because I didn't have time to think about this, to be honest. So just to give you an idea, so when the war started, I was like 27 years old. And the war started for, let's say, lasted for 4 years. And when the war was over, I was like more than 30 years old. And then you come back and you find your house completely destroyed. You are trying to find whatever job at that time. So you don't have time about the ambitious. You just think about how to survive, how to make the funds for your living and your family. And but what drew me to this success? I will go to your last question. I would say really hard work. I always worked very hard. So not because that I wanted to achieve this position to become the CEO, but it was like in my character. So that is how I was educated in my family and also at school. And actually, I'm very focused on business. I'm oriented to details. I would say really, I'm a perfectionist. Maybe this being perfectionist and going into details also prevented me or blocked me to think about the higher positions. You know, sometimes you are focused on perfectionism and the details, doing the technical job, and you don't have time to think about your career path. What actually happened is that I cannot say that I countered some difficulties. First of all, I would say from this gender position as being a woman. Really, I've never had any problems with that I was underestimated because I'm a woman. But if I now go back and try to understand, to see the clear picture, I can say that as many other women, not only in our country or our region, but all over the world, we have the same rights, but we really don't have the same opportunities. For something that is really, let's say, a normal for men in business is not that normal for women in business, not only in our countries, I'm telling, but everywhere in the world. So there are different factors for that. I mean, it's not only because of the society, it's about of your character. So what I can say that I was, let's say, treated equally when doing the business, doing the job, but maybe, to be honest, maybe I was not recognized at that time as someone who can be selected for an executive position. But what in the end, what the hard work or the fairness shows that sooner or later, being woman or man, male or female, doesn't matter, someone will recognize your contribution. And this is what I can say really in the Islamic finance. I can say that my superiors or board members or supervisory board members or my colleagues from the shareholders banks or whatever, they recognized me some values and they have recognized these values, which they say it's the orientation to job to be done, so the fairness when approaching the work, and that is why they gave me this position. I mean, to see if I'm also going to continue with the same passion. So the biggest challenge for women in the business is the lack of support from other women. So I would advise women to support each other's and to encourage each other's in their goals, in their career path development. What is also important for women, I would say, that not to be ashamed of to think about their revenues. So what is normal, let's say, for my male colleagues is to, let's say, to ask for the increase of the salaries, which is not that, I mean, imminent to women. Women are always thinking that they do not deserve this. They need to do more, I mean, in order to ask for increase of the salary or whatever. So this is something that you really need to get over the years. You have to mature in all aspects of your life. I mean, in business and as a person as well. So the speaking up openly is also important. This is what I have always done. I opposed. I was always brave, let's say, to oppose to my superiors, but based on the argumented critics, not just to oppose as it is. So to be honest and fair with your superiors, but with your colleagues as well. And what really I think brought me to this position is that is sharing of the knowledge. I think the sharing of the knowledge is one of the most important duties of any manager at any position. So knowledge is not only for ourselves. Knowledge, we have a knowledge and we get the knowledge to be shared and to be given to the others. And that is what is also, I think that is something that was recognized as one of my values. Not because that I'm just saying this to show that that I'm really sharing the knowledge, that you appreciate that, because I really feel that. I really feel that we are obliged as people, as persons, as human beings, to share what we know and to support our younger colleagues, to educate, to get more knowledge. That is actually what is one of my, maybe one of the main characteristics of my character or my doing my business. So that is actually what, but I cannot say really that I encountered some prejudice or whatever, not even in Islamic finance, really, which there are some prejudice that in Islamic finance, women are more underestimated than in conventional banking. I used to work in conventional banks, in commercial banks. So there is no difference, I mean, in Islamic finance, maybe on the contrary. So because there are few women in Islamic finance, maybe they are given the better opportunity to promote themselves and to show what they are capable of.
It is really heard about that you are not encounter any difficulties in Islamic finance as a woman to get an opportunity for the leadership. That is good for us to hear about it. And our next question, we are just fulfilling our time, but I have a question from Bahrain,
Okay.
from Mr. Ahmed Albayrak, with his full respect and regards to you. And the question is that what other achievements you think the BBI made over the years as the calling people or the community to common word of people to establish the real peace in Bosnia and Herzegovina?
But I think that so we are, as any bank, so we are the social institution. Based on what I have already, any bank is social institution. People come to the bank, ask for some services, and the banks are considered and perceived as social institutions. But I think that BBI is beyond this. I mean, the BBI is the social institution based on what I have already explained on the projects that we are taking and we have implemented. Yeah, I think that we have contributed to the peace and to integration of the people in their communities, not only Bosniaks in their pre-war places of living, as I explained before, but also the line was dispersed and available and dispersed also to to Serbs and Croats in other parts, in Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, returnees from Republika Srpska. So we think that this contributed to the integration and connection of the people. So let's say if the farmer is or the owner of the company is Croat, if I have to, I mean, identify the ethnicities, just to, because we are, I mean, different from the others, and we have to point out that. So he or they employed Bosniaks and Serbs, and vice versa. So this is, I mean, how we contributed to this integration, which we really want to see completed and done in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Thank you very much. It's really impressive. So, Mrs. Emina, if you have your last wording, if you have, if you would like to express your feelings and wishes regarding this webinar series, we would be grateful to hear about that.
Yeah. So this is the first time that I participate in a webinar or like this one. I really appreciate and congratulate you, the Association of the Participation Banks, and especially to the WADI as a research center, which was established and initiated like this initiative. So I strongly encourage this initiative to open up dialogues, to reduce the stigma, let's say, around Islamic banking, not only in the region, but all over the world. And that was, as BBI, that is our main mission here in Bosnia. To explain to people based on this Islamic, when we talk about Islamic finance, to explain to people that they can always have the alternative and what that alternative offers, and that they are encouraged and supported to try this alternative. So this kind of series, when you have this open up dialogue covering the different aspects of the finance, as you said, responsible finance, which Islamic finance is expected to be, is really welcome. And I really appreciate again that you have recognized me as someone who can contribute to this webinar series, or your mission or your idea that you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Dear participants, we started this series with an academician, Mr. Ahmet Tahir Juti, and this is the second one. We were together with the professional, like as the Emina SISIC, CEO of the BBI, and we have witnessed a real life example of sustainability, responsible finance, and we would like to thank you and to the entire BBI family. And we would like to thank you to all participants and listeners here, and wish you a good day. Have a nice day to all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I wish you all the best.